Hello, this will be a tutorial for Artifix 3D Rain FX plugin, which is available at Unreal Engine Marketplace. So we will start with the chapter 1. Here in this example scene, we have a 3D text logo. So we have to enable this plugin text 3D. If you want to have a same setup as it is shown here on this demo map. And then we will start with our chapter 2, Rain Controller. Rain Controller is the main function. So it's located under the Content Rain System Blueprints, and you have BP Rain Controller. You just drag and drop this blueprint into the scene. And first thing what I'm going to show you is you have to be sure that you turn on the visualize rain area. And now we are in the manual mode. We can adjust rain size. I will put 1500 by 1500 so you don't see it from below. It's visible only in the editor and not in the game, so don't worry. And with the rain position, you can adjust the position of the rain emitter. So the next thing which I'm going to change is uncheck the load settings and uncheck editor on, be sure. So with the rain velocity, I'll crank this up to 2000. And you see we have more intense rain, and if we put 10 or 150, we have a light rain effect. With rain angle, plugin simulates a wind effect over the rain. So we have directional falling rain for stormy weather effect. And if we crank this up to 2000, it is more visible how steep could be the angle of the falling rain. And if we press begin play, you immediately see we have a rain effect working in our scene. So the next thing which I'm going to set up and show you is how to use Rain Editor. But first of all, we have to set up the key input. Here on my keyboard, editor runs with the plus button. But if you have a different keyboard layout, it could be confusing for you. So let's open BP Rain Controller. And here on the left side, you have an input key for creating, or maybe better say opening Rain Editor. So let's type here key input, and we will choose some other letter. You can choose whatever you want. So let me see, we will choose letter G. So if we connect this G letter and unplug the plus button, menu will be opened by pressing the G letter. When you hit play and Rain Editor is checked, you should press G letter, and you will see Rain FX Editor is open. You have to do a left click on the left side of the screen in the empty space, and then the camera will stop rotating while you are doing your tweakings in the effects editor. So if we crank rain velocity, you see it's the same thing like in the manual mode, but here we have a better control, and the drying effect is already applied as the water accumulation as well. The more velocity we have on the rain, water will accumulate faster. That's the whole logic behind this add-on. As you saw in the manual mode, we have the same rain angle. We can change rain direction. And also we can adjust rain puddle sizes, rain area width, rain area length, and we can adjust also rain height if we want to create an effect that rain is falling from much larger height from the player. And the last thing, what we have here is a checkbox for rain effects on the lens. On and off switch just turns on and off rain in the editor. So hit the save button, save rain settings when you are finished with designing your rain. And then in the details panel, uncheck editor on and check load settings. And your last saved settings will be applied to the level. As you can see, everything which we designed, it's now applied. If you want to redesign your rain effect, you have to uncheck load settings, then check again editor on, run the game, tweak your settings in the editor, save them, and then uncheck editor on and check load settings. With the rain puddle size, you can tweak how much of water could be accumulated at the maximum point. So when the velocity is higher, this is the maximum level of water accumulation. In chapter 2.5, we will cover water accumulation system. So here you have a tick box, and we will uncheck editor and check water accumulation. And when we hit play, I will press Shift and F1. So you see, when we have a light rain, it is accumulating slower. Accumulation speed, the higher number you put, it will take a longer time to accumulate. So if we put 5,000, it will take at least 5 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds. I never measure it, but it's a much slower effect of accumulation. It's still 500, it's better. So with the 500, you see it's accumulating a bit faster. The same principle is applied on drying speed. When you stop the rain, water puddles are going to start to dry. So if I press Shift F1 and switch off rain velocity, you can see that water is contracting. This is a useful thing if you have in your game, for example, change of weather. You can promote this to your weather system, and which will turn the rain effect on and off, so you will have drying and accumulating effect in your game. Here in the rain editor, we have a slideshow which is visible only in the editor, where all the examples which I shown you are represented. So how to load settings, how to manual use settings, and how to save settings. In chapter 3, we will cover dry areas. So we have a blueprint called dry lens area. And under this blueprint, you have area scale. So we will make it size of this building. And this blueprint will create an effect of drying when player enters the building. But before it's active, we have to connect it to the main rain controller. So take from the rain controller, take the picker tool and pick the BP rain controller from the scene. And now it's connected, it will immediately work. There is also a checkbox under BP Rain controller, Start in Rain. If this button is checked, it means that the beginning of your game, your character will start in the rainy area, so it will be immediately wet. And if you uncheck this, you will uncheck this when your player starts inside of dry area. So you have to do that in order to work it properly. So you see we don't have any more rain effects. And if we go out, the lens becomes wet. When we go inside of the dry area, after 1 or 2 seconds, lenses are completely dry. And this is how these effects work. So the next thing is water streams. It's under BP Rain Stream. We will use that for creating water streams down the roof, down to this metal roof effect. So under this one, we will enable preview, and we will put preview velocity to 2000 so that we can visualize better what is going on here. So first of all, we have to set the position of this and make a stream size 400. I think it's 4 meters long, this piece of the roof. So that it looks like that the water falls down the roof. Disable the preview. And same thing as with the dry lens effect, we have to take the pick actor tool and connect it to the BP Rain controller. And now when these two blueprints are connected, we will get the same velocity of rain falling down from this roof as the velocity of rain falling down from the sky from our main controller. So if we let's run the editor and you will see what I'm talking about. So if we open up our editor and we crank up the rain velocity, you see that the rain falling down from the roof becomes much dense. And if we lower this down or if we turn off the rain, this effect will also stop. Next thing which I'm going to show you is localized sound effects. So under the blueprints, we have another tool which is called BP Rain Custom Sound Effects. So we'll drag and drop it here on this roof. And we have to connect it to our main rain controller. Same thing as previous two ones. So if the velocity of rain is low, you will hear a light rain sound effect. If you crank up velocity pretty high, you will hear that the sound effect of rain is more like a shower. But here under this roof, you hear we have a metal rain falling on the metal roof sound, which is connected also to velocity of the main rain controller. In chapter 6, I will show you wet materials. So let's start with some basic geometry. We have a cone, and under material masters you will have M underline standard material master and M basic material master. So let's open the standard first. This is just a standard material, just a color. You can adjust metalness, specular and roughness. And on this material you will get only rain drops and the rain drips. That's all. Rain effect will also in this material follow direction of the rain. So if, for example, rain is falling from the west, on the east side of the object, you will get less drops than on the west side, which is more oriented toward the source of rain. Base color changes color of the object. Let's do it yellow. So we will add some roughness to it, some metalness, Now it looks like a piece of basic gold. Raindrop tiling, it will adjust the size of the raindrops. So the higher number will result with smaller drops, and the lower number will result with bigger drops. And if we turn on macro variation, we can add some weathering effect or some color variation to the object so that it doesn't look so blank. Macro variation intensity will, with the black and white color, you can adjust contrast, and UV scale, the bigger it is, the smaller this damaged pattern will be on the object. And there is also third switch. You can choose between world space and UV space of macro variation on this object. So now when I move this object, I see also the line, it's in UV space, and now it's in the world space. And this is everything from the standard material. And now let's create advanced wet material. I will make material instance and show it to you how it works. Let's drag and drop it onto the object. So here we have more parameters. This one has texture inputs, occlusion, roughness, metallic, base color and normal. We have rain wetness. That means that object will become darker over time when it gets wet. So you see now it became from the light gray, it became dark gray, like it's wet. So let's create another object, which will be our cube. Because the angle of the cone, we cannot get water accumulation on that angled surface. But on flat surfaces, as you see on this cube, on flat surfaces we get on the top of it water accumulation. So let's tweak it a bit. So here we have rain puddles, and we can create a manual puddle size. Manual puddle size will override rain effect. So if you want to have always the same look of your material, you will turn on probably manual puddle size, and we will disable wetness over time so that we control the wetness. So with this slider, you see we get the size of the puddle. Puddle opacity will result with the opacity of the water, and also with the puddle color we can tint this water into some color. So if you want to make it dirty, you will probably choose some brownish color, something like that. Macro variation will add macro variation to your texture if you are doing some large areas where you want to avoid tiling effect. And with the color adjustment, you can tint your texture with any color. With the hue, you can change the hue, saturation, and the contrast of this material. So let's go into the next section. Let's turn off macro variation, and I will disable color adjustment so that you can better see what is going on here on the water. As you can see, we have ripple effect in the puddles. So if we disable this, you won't see it. With tiling, The bigger number will create smaller ripples, smaller number will create bigger ripples. Wet mask. Wet mask is just how much of the surface is or could be wet, and porousness will adjust maximum darkness of the object when it's wet. And I think that would be everything from the basic material. Now I will show you how to create a rippling effect on water. So we need any kind of water surface. This one is from Unreal Engine demo content. So if you can see here, I am blending my puddle ripples with normal map of the water. So if I want to transfer this effect to any other material, I would just copy this, and under base normal I would plug a normal map which you created for any of your materials. You just need this bottom part and this node for blending corrected normals. So I will show you how to do that. Let's create a new material. Name would be my custom water, for example. So let's create an image, texture sample. So this is, for example, a normal map, any normal map which you have on your material. And usually you would connect this to the normal, and you will have your normal map on your object. But if you want to combine it with this rippling effect like on water, you would just copy paste everything, connect your normal map into the base normal, and connect everything to normal. Okay, nothing is visible. We have to change the roughness and add some color to it so that it becomes visible. Let's do something white. Okay. And now you see we have the rippling effect on this material. And that's how you are going to combine your normal map with this wetness, custom wet rippling effect. And the same thing is happening here. Here we have puddles normal, it's just a redirector. So puddles normal is a rerouted node for normal map, which is coming from the texture sample, and it's combined with material function puddle ripples. So here under base normal you would put some texture and combine it with material function puddle ripples. And here in this material we have material function raindrops. You can also combine this with your texture sample. So type blind angle correct normals, connect it to additional normal, and you put your normal texture sample and drag everything to the normal of the material. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you will be really creative with this rain effect.